rage, body, diamond, bronze, wanna beat it, wanna feel it.
The dominator of the universe, Sai, versus the destroyer of the cosmos, Rin. The fated battle of the Itoshi brothers. A tale of treason, recognition and the desire to be number one in the world. But also a battle between two players with a family name that strikes fear in the heart of every blue locker. And now with both still in the spotlight in the finale of season 2, and with Rin finally achieving his true potential in the manga, it has never been more fitting for us to look at their stats, abilities and explore their best feats, to determine who would come on top and who is the overall better player. Now, before we begin, I gotta make an announcement. Usually in these matchup videos, I only take feats. However, for this battle, and due to the long history of these two and the fatal battle they are going to have in the future, I will actually be taking potential into consideration in addition to their feats. Furthermore, usually when I do these matchups, I go over each player individually, explore their physical stats, then their weapons and abilities, and finally end the video with how the matchup would go. But seeing that the writer is making it clear that the Itoshi brothers are evenly matched and they mirror each other when it comes to their physicality, I figured why not go over this first for both players, then we move to exploring each player's weapons and abilities and end the video with the matchup. And so without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for their physicality. Now you have to understand, the Itoshi brothers boast a great well-rounded physicality. They don't have any signature stat like other players, for example Arya with his jumping or Kunigami with his power and raw strength. In fact, both players are jacks of all trades. You see, they boast great physicality, great speed, great jumping ability and insane endurance. And this actually gives them such great versatility, which as you will see later is actually very crucial to both of their playing styles. Now, as I said, they are pretty much evenly matched when it comes to every stat, with Rin probably having a slightly more powerful build than Sai. We actually do not have any statement to back this, and this was deducted from their playing style, as we can clearly see Rin gets more physical with players and he wins a lot of his physical duels. However, we've seen them clash and we've seen them battle each other physically, and they were pretty much evenly matched. However, that was regular Rin, and not him in his destroyer mode. Then there are the aerial battles, where Rin clearly have more feats than Sai. However, Sai too shown an amazing ability to jump. As for speed and endurance, I'd say they are evenly matched and they are pretty much the same. However, ladies and gentlemen, with this out of the way, it's time for us to explore their abilities and weapons, starting up straight with Rin's. Ever since his introduction, ever since we laid eyes onto him, Rin was that guy. He was him, dominating Blue Lock pretty much ever since its inception. Rin is a genius, as he has an innate talent for football ever since he was a kid. However, what made him special is that in addition to that genius, Rin is very hardworking and doesn't necessarily rely only on his talent. He's a genius that can rival prodigies in their dedication. Rin is also the master of using abilities before they get properly introduced. In the second selection, he was the guy to introduce the idea of using the eyes to look for opportunities, whether on defense or on offense. Then in the third selection, when he was pressed by Otoya, he actually hit his shot behind Shido and Chigiri, completely taking the goalkeeper by surprise. And as you all know, in the Ubers game, we got introduced to the weapon that enabled him to take such a shot, which are the Predator Eyes. Now obviously he is only using one half of these eyes, which is the goalkeeper hunting ability that was probably introduced by Snuffy and Barrow in come chapter 289, and it is actually confirmed. Rin has the Predator Eyes. However, it doesn't end with the Predator Eyes. You see, going back to him introducing the idea of using the eyes to look for opportunities. His playing style has always been calculated. He's been a player that observed everything on the field and reacted accordingly, which, as you all know, is the seed for Metavision. You see, when Isigi finally unlocked Metavision against Manshine, Hiyori stated that now he actually looks like Rin, hinting at the idea that Rin has always been using Metavision, albeit subconsciously. When Rin was trying to stop Sai, we actually got to see the grid associated with Metavision twice, not just once but actually twice, which almost seemed as a confirmation that Rin possesses Metavision. And actually we've seen this before with another player, which is of course Kaiser, who has both the Predator Eyes and Metavision, albeit Kaiser uses the goal course hunting ability of the Predator Eyes and not the goalkeeper hunting ability, and so there is a bit of a difference. And speaking of Kaiser, in the PXG game, there were actually only 3 players who could keep up with Kaiser, which were Rin, Charles, and Karasu, all players with insane perception and insane field readability. And later, Karasu confirmed to have metavision, which means the fact that Rin is playing on the same playing field, or even better sometimes than the 2 other metavision users, could allude to the fact that Rin is using metavision subconsciously. However, enough about his speculative ocular abilities. Let's talk about an insane weapon that Rin has shown us multiple times, which is his amazing dribbling. Rin possesses what we call passive dribbling, which is a type of dribbling that is calculated and employed to counter whatever the defender is doing, which means it almost works on everyone. However, we can't really talk about how crazy his dribbling ability without talking about his berserker state. You see, in this state, Rin became a player who could take a whole team by himself, as we saw him destroy the entirety of Bastard. Even when 3 insane players, Hiyori, Korona and Raichi, rushed him, he still was able to make quick work of them. And what's scary even after that, even with Isagi and Kaiser's perfect positioning, they were actually unable to stop him and he would have scored if he wanted to. However, he was not satisfied. He wanted a goal that would literally destroy everyone on the field. And so, if you could believe it, after wrecking a whole team by himself, Rin actually stopped and passed the ball to Charles, ordering him to reconstruct a better and a more fitting attack for him to score. Which honestly, while being very impressive, I don't know how I think about it when it comes to his mentality. Something that we will discuss later. However, for now, just know when it comes to dribbling, we have not seen a more impressive feat as this. And it goes without saying, I'm obviously excluding the pros. However, let me ask you this, I keep talking about how strong his dribbling is, yet I did not explain how it works. You see, in the Berserker state, Rin gains a new ocular ability, which I will simply name the Destroyer Eyes. And these eyes are actually kinda like Aiku's analytical eye, in that they allow Rin to analyze his opponent, analyze their strength and weaknesses, and then Rin takes full advantage of this knowledge to destroy his opponent, by drawing out their strength and then destroying them with their weak points. Which, I'm not going to lie, makes Rin such a scary opponent. You see, even an insane player as Hiyori, even a monster at dueling like Raichi, seemed like fodder against Rin's dribbling ability, as we saw him use insanely unpredictable moves to completely counter their strong points. Which leads us to talk about another weapon that is born out of his Berserker state, which is his unpredictability. You see, Rin, before accessing the Berserker state, is a very calculated player. He's an insane player for sure, but also he gets very predictable, which really proved to be detrimental to him against players with insane adaptability or unpredictability, like Kaiser, Isagi and Baro. However, in the Destroyer mode, Rin becomes such an unpredictable force on the field, simply because he will calculate and counter whatever you throw at him. And this is so insane that it took Isagi to achieve a Berserker state of his own, and utilize another prodigy in Kaiser just to stop Rin. Which I gotta say was such a genius move from Isagi, because Rin aims to destroy and counter players. One must sacrifice himself so his other teammates can stop Rin, which simply put means that Rin is unstoppable one-on-one, meaning he is the true emperor of one-on-one. And this is something we actually knew from Aiku before, when he analyzed Rin in his Destroyer mode and reached the conclusion that this player is unpredictable. Even the almighty Aiku cannot stop him one-on-one. And I would say there is only one player in the U20 category that I'd see could stop Rin, which is of course Lorenzo, the best defender in the whole U20 category. However, and if you could believe it, there is still more to this insane player. Because, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to talk about his shooting ability, which presents the best accuracy in all of Blue Lock, and second best in the U20 category after Kaiser. This impeccable accuracy grants Rin an insane shooting range, that when coupled with his amazing ball control grants Rin one of the best shooting abilities in all of Blue Lock, and actually in all of the U20 category. We've seen Rin shoot from very far away, shoot from corners, shoot from tight angles, you name it. With that insane accuracy and ball control, if he is free and he can shoot, you already know what he is scoring. However, this insane accuracy and ball control comes at a cost, as Rin has one of the slowest shooting motions, which is conveyed by the writer in the way he draws Rin when shooting. And actually the whole game plan of Aiku in the U20 match was to not give Rin any free space so the latter does not take one of his signature shots. And actually that worked on him. However, and again, everything changes when Rin is in the Berserker state. You see, when he is in his destroyer mode, Rin gains the ability to shoot even when crashing with other players. In fact, that's what excites him the most, to shoot and destroy a team while crashing with their best player, like we've seen him do with Isagi. However, this specifically mitigates his shooting weakness, which is his slow shooting speed, and makes his shot honestly one of the most complete shots in all of Duel, and honestly really worthy of this destroyer who seems to have no weakness. Well, I would say that if it wasn't for his weird mentality. You see, as I said before, Rin completely destroying Bastard and then not capitalizing on the opportunity and stopping his shot is actually very detrimental to his mentality and seriousness points. Then there is the fact that he requires strong players such as Isagi and Kaiser for him to exert the best of his berserker states, which honestly really hurts his consistency points as well. And this is actually confirmed by Noah's comment on Rin's ego and mentality, where he said that it is one of the nastiest and one of the worst types of ego, which to me really hurts Rin as an overall player and really takes away a lot from him. Because to me, Snuffy and Noah are the best in the world, not because of their physique, talent or genius, but the writer is making it clear they are the best specifically due to their mentality. And the fact that a player with a better body for football such as Prince cannot even get close to neither is really a testament to how important mentality is for football players. However, even with this huge weakness, Rin is still one of the most, if not the most impressive player right now in all of the Neo Egoist League. He's a player with a well-rounded physicality, a very high soccer IQ and field readability, an insane ocular ability, insane dribbling ability, and one of the best shots in all of the U20 category, making him, as Kaiser put it, the final boss of all of Duel. However, can he beat the Japanese Emperor? Can he beat his brother? Sai Itoshi, the Itachi of Blue Lock, a very cool-headed and professional player, but also a very egotistical character and the new Gen 11 midfielder. Whenever the word prodigy is brought up in Blue Lock, it usually involves one player, Sai Itoshi. You see, even as a kid, Sai showed an insane innate talent for football, to the point he was labeled the prodigy of Japan at such a young age, and later even being scouted by Real, the best club in the world of football, which honestly is such an impressive feat. However, I'd say his most impressive feat is his mentality and cool-headedness. You see, Sai is the definition of a professional player, even in intense situations, even in dire circumstances. Sai is a very reliable character, and this is especially important because usually he is the player to build the attack. He is the heart of the team he plays for. In fact, I'd say he is the best beating heart we've seen as of yet. And so let me ask you this, in addition to his amazing mentality, what makes Sai the best midfielder? What makes Sai the best beating heart ever? First, there is his insanely high soccer IQ and field readability. As in the U20 game, Sai was making plays that were beyond anyone's imagination at that point and were actually only matched by Shidous' instincts. Something that immediately puts Sai on Isagi and Kaiser's level when it comes to field readability. Because as we are seeing, Shidous is able to match them purely through instinct. And so I'd say Sai is on this level. Now of course, we can't really talk about field readability without talking about his ocular abilities. First is Metavision, which was confirmed in the Manshine City game, where after unlocking it, Isagi said that his plays right now are similar to that of Sai's, in that right now Isagi has a bird's eye view and understands what Sai was doing in the U20 game, something that he could not do before. However, as you all know, Isagi's Metavision evolved insanely after that point, and we do not actually know if Sai's Metavision is on that level or is of the highest level, which would rival current Isagi and Kaiser's Metavision. However, from the looks of it and from the way he played with Isagi, and again from just how far he was ahead from everyone else, I'd say Sai matches them no problem. And I'd say from a story perspective and taking on potential, I'd say Sai has one of the best Metavisions in all of the U20 category, and maybe only beaten by Snuffy. And of course, this means that Sai presents insane off-the-ball movements, which as you all know were at full display in the U20 game. He literally seemed everywhere to everyone, and also he was playing with no interval, a hallmark of high-level Metavision players. But also Sai was accounting for literally everyone, whether his teammates or his opponents. Sai had them all in his field of vision, and he was reacting to everyone on and off the ball, which really further proves that Sai has one of the best Metavisions ever, even by current current standards, because as we've seen, Nico, despite having metavision, he did not account for Raichi when he was battling Isagi, suggesting that his metavision is kinda limited. However, Sai was literally accounting for everyone, even players with insane off-the-ball movements such as Rin and Isagi. Sai was also accounting for them. However, metavision is not his only ocular ability. As I said in my Sai vs Charles video, I am speculating that Charles presents a new ocular ability, which I am dubbing the Sniper Eyes. An ability that allows the midfielder to target the best passing course so he can reach the striker, and also it allows him to force passes even in the tightest and most dire situations, like we've seen Charles do against Kaiser and Ness. And again in that video I said that Sai played as if he has those eyes, and because we are going to include potential in this video, I'd say Sai also presents the Sniper Eyes, which honestly kinda seem obvious when we look at his passing. And so, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the weapon that gave Sai most of his feats. Let's talk about his passing ability. First of all, and going back to his Sniper Eyes, we've seen Sai deliver insane passes to his strikers that were few centimeters away from the defenders, like was the case with Chigiri and Rin, which honestly suggests that he has one of the most insane passing accuracies ever. And honestly, before we got introduced to Charles, there was no player that comes even close to this point. Even Hiyori and Ness, insane midfielders for their own right, really do not compare to Sai when it comes to accuracy. Only Charles challenges him in this point. But also, beyond just accuracy, his ability to snipe the best passing course that fits with every striker he's playing for really cements that when it comes to passing, Sai is truly one of the greats. However, that's not all to his passing. You see, Sai is a player that takes his striker's strong points and weaknesses into account and deliver perfect passes that really matches the striker's playing style. Even a player like Shidous, who can snipe pretty much every pass in the penalty box, was really impressed by the level of Sai passes, because they quite literally match his idea and his playing style every time, which really pushed Shidous to act like a kid. But also, not only does Sai match his striker's playing style, he also is constantly pushing said striker to reach new heights, which is done through perfect yet challenging passes, like we've seen him do with Sendo and then with Shidous. Which, if I'm not making it clear, this is such an insane weapon, because it means that he is constantly enabling his strikers to get into the flow state, which means that Sai is a player that takes the whole team up a notch, and not simply deliver perfect passes. He gets the whole forward line to perform their best performance as of date, which honestly is such a huge feat for a midfielder. Now, when you couple this insane passing ability with a very high level metavision, you get a new unique weapon, which is no interval passing. You see, as soon as Sai gets the ball, he is able to deliver a very accurate and a very tailored pass to whatever strike he wants, instantly and with no interval, giving the defense no time to react, as we've seen him do with Shidous when he scored his Big Bang drive. And honestly, this is such an amazing feat, and was really what took Hiyori to the next level. And speaking of Hiyori, who has amazing dribbling, it's time for us to talk about yet another insane weapon of Sai, which is his dribbling. Sai is the first to introduce reactive dribbling, which is very different from active dribbling that we've seen before from Bajra and Yuki. You see, Sai doesn't exert moves that are aiming to bypass the player. In fact, he exerts moves that are specifically meant to counter whatever the player is doing. However, and unlike his brother who destructively counters the opponent, Sai does it beautifully and elegantly, often making him seem very impressive and also very unstoppable. Now, we've actually seen how broken his dribbling ability is. However, we did not see it with very high level players such as the Neo-Egoist League players. But due to how much of a signature his dribbling is, we can assume it is also of the highest caliber, and can definitely rival players like Bachira currently and Lorenzo. And finally, let's talk about a weapon that I think it is very unique to Sai in the U20 category, as even the other New Gen 11 players, Kaiser and Lorenzo, they did not present such a level of experience that Sai presented. You see, Kaiser sometimes seemed even blind due to his ego, and Lorenzo's play for Persona really hurts him when it comes to this point specifically. Sai, on the other hand, seems to be knowing of everything. He honestly seems as if he is a pro. Sometimes he seems to have more experience than even Loki. And while this might not seem as an insane weapon, I think it plays a huge role in Sai's maturity and Sai's amazing mentality. And overall makes Sai one of the most complete players in all of Duel. In fact, I think he is the most complete player, with abilities and weapons that beautifully and elegantly work together, and with mentality and professionalism that even rivals the pros. Sai is the definition of the dominator of Blue Lock's universe. But can he beat his younger brother? Can he beat the Destroyer? Sai vs Rin, a battle written in the stars, a faithful encounter between two brothers that is bound to happen. At this point, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And so, when these two beasts face one another, who will come on top? Now, as I said, given that this is a striker versus a midfielder matchup, there are actually two schools of thought. First, who would come on top one-on-one? Who is better in a vacuum? And second, who is overall better? Who is more fitting for a team? And so, without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's see who is the better of the Itoshi brothers. First of all, given that they are equally matched physically speaking, I think this makes this matchup the most intense and the most fun matchup on my channel, simply because it is going to be solved purely based on talent. The winner will actually be the better and the more talented player, plain and simple. First, for their 1v1 matchup, and given how much Rin wants to burn everything there is Sai, triggering this fight is hilariously easy. Rin will actually go relentlessly at Sai, and so can a 100% Sai actually beat Berserker Rin one-on-one. First, let's look at it from an offense point of view. Well, Rin will try to stop Sai. Before, we actually saw that Destroyer Rin stopped him, while Base Rin simply couldn't, and that was because Rin in his Berserker state was able to match and predict what Sai was going to do, and then he countered it. And it actually worked wonderfully because Sai is very calculated, and so Rin simply brought the best out of Sai and destroyed it. And this is where Rin's signature destruction comes into play. The more the player is calculated, the more Rin can counter them easily. And in chapter 289 actually, we saw that Rin was insane at defending even against the new Kazuha and Isigi. And so realistically here, and given their style of playing, the more Sai will try to surpass Rin, the more Rin's unpredictability will come into play, and the more Sai gets calculated, the more Rin's destruction become more effective. And so on offense, and even going 100%, I think Rin wins. But next, let's explore on defense. What about Sai actually stopping Rin? Now, in the U20 game, Sai never really challenged Rin head-on, he never really pressed him. And to be perfectly honest, it wasn't his job, he's not really a defender. And in fact, every time Sai defended, it was simply like what Isigi and Kazuha were doing. He was targeting the most open space exploited by the Blue Lockers. And it's not like a case where Rin will go relentlessly at Sai because he wants to crush him. Sai is a professional and wouldn't really care about Rin, since it's not really his job. However, for the benefit of the doubt, let's just say Sai and Rin cross paths on the field, and Rin has the ball. Who would come on top? Now, if you thought Rin's unpredictability is insane on defense, well, it's on a whole different level on offense. You see, as far as we have seen, stopping Rin head-on, stopping Rin 1v1 is shown to be near impossible. I mean, Isigi and Kazuha are doing it, but that's literally 2-on-1. And then what adds insult to injury, Sai is very calculated, and as you all know, Rin's playing style really excels at countering calculated players. I mean, we quite literally seen Isigi, Kazuha and Hiyori all with perfect positioning failing miserably against Rin, simply because he is extremely unpredictable. And so I really do not see a way for Sai to beat him on defense. And so from these 2 points, we can see that Rin actually dominates their 1v1. It's not even close, honestly. And I want you to understand something. This is to be expected because it's a genius versus prodigy situation. Obviously Rin is a genius, but I think Sai is a prodigy. Now this actually deserves a video on itself, whether Sai is a prodigy or not. However, judging from the way he performed, I'd say he is a prodigy. And in fact, I've seen a video by a fellow YouTubers on this topic, and I would highly recommend watching it so you can understand why Sai really is a prodigy. And as you all know, prodigies lose miserably one-on-one to geniuses. However, they really excel when it comes to actually playing on a field. I mean, Rin is still broken, and him being able to link up with Isigi and Kazuha in chapter 289 was insane. However, if you were a coach and you had to choose the overall better player, would it actually be Sai or Rin? Well, let's actually explore that. First, let's state the obvious. Sai is very versatile. He's a player that can very easily lead a whole team towards success with his plethora of options and his plethora of plays. I mean, for God's sake, he can even push trash like Sendo to their limits. And hell, he can even score himself if needs be. And as you all know, it's not just that his passes are accurate, his shots are very precise too. But honestly, I would not even focus on him being a striker or not. Even when only looking at him from the lenses of a midfielder, he is still very OP and he is still a very oppressive player on the field. Add to that the fact that Sai can work great with other midfielders and strikers, while Rin seems to be a bit conditional. I mean, first of all, his volatility is a bit weird for me and really takes away from Rin's ability to match with any team. I mean, Rin is still a very oppressive striker for his own right. If you remember his goal, he did not score it the first time not just because he couldn't, he just wanted to get an insanely broken goal. And this showed that Rin is such an oppressive striker that just the support of fodder players is enough for him to score. And I feel the writer made this very clear when he gave him Nanase as the supporting cast. The guy is a straight up vanilla player with some added ambidexterity. But in that same goal, in the build-up of that whole play, Rin actually showed us his glaring weakness, which is his volatility. Him not scoring an obvious shot and him clashing with Isigi to get that sweet feeling really dampers his viability for me. I mean, with this, if any mistake happened, it could really hurt the team he plays for, and that definitely hurts his overall points. Add to that the fact that, as of yet, the trigger for Rin's Destroyer mode and his best performance are still ambiguous. I mean, from this game and the Manshine City game before it, it seems that Rin can access this mode very frequently. However, the fact that he was not in his Berserker mode, I mean, Isigi and Kaiser pushing him was required for him to reach this new level. And so again, I don't know about the viability of his whole playing style. However, I'm going to be frank with you. My biggest issue with Rin is actually his mentality. Having Noah, of all people, question it really doesn't help his case at all. And his unpredictability, even though is an insane weapon, as I said, it also can cause issues for the team he plays for. Again, him not scoring an easy goal and him crashing with Isigi are really cause for concern. And I know this might seem like a small point, but the fact that Noah beats Prince in the global ranking due to his mentality really is telling of how crucial of a point this is, because Prince trumps Noah in every regard when it comes to football. As you all know, Prince is the perfect player. However, Noah is number one due to his mentality. And if you think about it, Snuffy too. Even with the biggest emotional baggage, Snuffy is still a very rational and calculated player in his approaches, and he is well respected by the other pros for that reason. As for Rin's mentality, it being unpredictable and it being this volatile, it really can't compete with Size, who is a very cool-headed and a very professional player. Add to that the fact that with his abilities he can get his strikers into flow through constantly challenging them. Then there is the fact that Size is also a better leader. As we've seen, he can handle pretty much everyone and actually every situation, which really adds a lot to him being a team player and him being overall better. And so I would say this, in a vacuum, in a 1v1, Rin is definitely better than Sai. In fact, he hard counters him and might even better to lead an attack than his brother. But when speaking overall, and who I think is a better player for any given situation and any given team, I'd say Sai is better. This is kinda the case with Kaiser and Isigi. As a pure striker, I'd say Kaiser is better, but due to his adaptability, Isigi is overall better for the team. And so, I'll give the W of this matchup to Sai, strictly speaking because in my videos I take the overall evaluation over everything. However, know this. In terms of a player versus player, Rin definitely wins this. In fact, as I said, in the U20 category, I think only Lorenzo can rival Rin in a 1v1 setting. However, that's all I've got for you today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video and I really hope you enjoyed this matchup. And it goes without saying, please let me know who do you think is better. But with that, until next time, thank you for watching.